The Galactic Institute of Interspecies Education hovered above Verelian Prime like a crown of glass and gravity. Its curved halls shimmered with alien runes and softly humming energy conduits, every corridor smelling faintly of ozone and disinfectant. Thousands of students from hundreds of worlds moved through it, scaled, feathered, translucent, speaking in clicking tones and ultraviolet flashes. Only one heartbeat among them pulsed in the familiar rhythm of Earth. Evelyn Drake walked those halls with quiet precision, her boots clicking against the alloy floor. Eyes followed her everywhere. Some stared with fascination, most with suspicion. She was the Deathworld Girl, a creature from a planet so violent that even its plants could kill. Her presence reminded them of things they pretended no longer existed: pain, survival, defiance. The day began as it always did. An attempt at normalcy in a place designed to remind her she didn't belong. The gravity was set lighter than Earth's and the oxygen thinner. To her, it felt like training with ankle weights removed. To the others, it made her seem unnatural, too steady, too controlled. In xenobiology class, Instructor Varlen floated beside the glass tank containing a live specimen. His 4 eyes focused on Evelyn when he spoke. "Observe, students." The Korish mimicry reflex triggers under stress. Humans, I'm told, possess a similar response: aggression, the class snickered. Corvellan's deep reptilian voice broke through the laughter. "Then perhaps our Deathworld guest would demonstrate?" Evelyn didn't look up. She simply closed her notebook. "I don't perform on command." Her tone was even, almost polite. That calmness unsettled them more than anger ever could. Varlen clicked his mandibles. "Let's move on." He knew better than to push. She'd already outperformed every physical metric in the Academy's database. The board liked her scores, but hated what they implied: that a human could surpass them on their own world. When class ended, Evelyn made her way to the cafeteria, a wide chamber with floating tables and a translucent dome showing the stars above. Conversations dimmed as she entered. The sound of utensils against trays slowed, the air thickening with unease. She ignored it. Humans didn't survive death worlds by demanding comfort. She selected the nutrient pack labeled Standard Protein, Mixed Origin. The serving drone hesitated, as if uncertain whether she should even be fed from the same dispenser. She smiled faintly. "Relax. I bite less than you think." The drone beeped and retreated. At the far end of the room, Rakor and his group, 4 students from predatory species, watched her. His scales glistened under the cold lights, tail twitching with calculated arrogance. "See how it acts civilized," he said, loud enough for the room to hear. "Pretending to eat like us. Next, it'll ask for a seat at the council." His friends laughed, the high-pitched, eager laughter of those who need permission to be cruel. Evelyn sat at an empty table. She didn't answer, didn't look their way. "She simply opened her nutrient pack and ate. Why doesn't it react?" One of them whispered. "She's afraid," another said. Rakor's pupils narrowed. "No, she's waiting. You'll see." When Evelyn finished, she stood and disposed of the empty pack. As she passed their table, one of the aliens extended a clawed foot, a deliberate trip. Her balance didn't break. She sidestepped, calm as if moving through smoke. The claw scraped her boot. She kept walking. That single, effortless motion silenced the entire section. Rakor's tail froze mid-sway. He felt something in that moment. Not fear exactly, but the awareness of something that could inspire it. Later, in the common hall, Rakor leaned toward his followers. The chamber lights flickered with the cycle change, turning the metal walls amber. "Tomorrow," he said quietly, "we'll capture what she really is. The beast behind the eyes. You'll all witness it, and so will the galaxy." He gestured to a small sphere resting in his palm, a Spectra drone, modified to stream directly to the Academy's internal network. "We provoke her, we film the reaction. Let the council see what happens when you let predators into classrooms." A thin-skinned avian clicked nervously. "If she strikes, security will—" "They'll see who struck first," Rakor cut in. "Her. Always her." He smiled, a slow, deliberate curl of fanged lips. Evelyn sat alone in her quarters that night, the faint hum of the environmental system surrounding her like static rain. Her room was Spartan: a desk, a cot, a small collection of Earth relics, a pebble from the Himalayas, a patch from a flight suit, a photograph of her mother's hands covered in soil. Each item a fragment of a world where strength was not cruelty, but necessity. She replayed the day in her mind, every stare, every whisper. The insults didn't bother her. The silence of those who said nothing did. She'd seen that kind of silence before. In command bunkers, in refugee camps, in the void between stars where predators waited for hesitation. A soft chime announced an incoming message. She ignored it. They'd been sending her anonymous taunts for weeks now, distorted voices, fragments of threats, monster, deathworlder, savage. She had learned not to feed ghosts. Her training wristband blinked blue. She tapped it, opening a personal log. Day 147, she said softly. Observation: hostility constant. Adaptation stable. Emotional response controlled. No action required. She paused, staring at the faint reflection of her own eyes in the metal wall. But they're pushing harder, she added. And one day, they'll push too far. The next morning began with drills in the central dome, a colossal chamber where gravity, temperature, and atmosphere could be adjusted for any species. Today the readout displayed gravity, 1.3 standard, heavy enough to test endurance. Perfect for humiliation. Rakor waited there, a smirk rippling across his scaled face. His group scattered around the periphery, pretending to calibrate equipment. Small drones floated near the ceiling, their red lenses glowing faintly, watching, recording. Evelyn entered through the south gate, dressed in regulation gray, her hair tied back in a simple knot. She noticed the drones instantly. Surveillance was routine here, but not that many. Her gaze flicked briefly to Rakor, then back to the arena floor. She said nothing. Drake, Rakor called, stretching his clawed arms. Join us. Let's see how a Deathworlder performs under pressure. Her voice was calm. Training or another experiment? His grin widened. You'll find out soon enough. She stepped onto the field, gravity pressing down like a heavy hand. Every movement was deliberate, measured. Rakor's friends exchanged excited glances. The drones repositioned, adjusting focus. Evelyn exhaled once, quietly. She'd lived through worse gravity. Worse predators, too. She looked at Rakor and said only, I hope you're recording properly. Something in her tone, the precise calmness of it, made one of his companions shift uneasily. From the observation deck above, Instructor Varlen watched the students gathering. He noted the cluster of unauthorized drones and frowned. What are they doing down there? His assistant hesitated. It appears to be a peer evaluation. Varlen's gaze lingered on Evelyn, the lone human in a ring of predators. If they push her, they'll regret it, he murmured. Below, Rakor flexed his claws. Begin recording, he whispered to the nearest drone. The sphere's lens gleamed red. Evelyn's expression didn't change, and somewhere deep inside the Deathworld Girl, the first hairline fracture of patience formed, quiet, invisible, waiting for the wrong touch to break. The training dome's air felt heavy, as if the atmosphere itself sensed what was coming. The transparent ceiling dimmed to neutral gray, while the hum of gravity generators deepened. Every sound, every breath seemed amplified beneath the steel curve of the arena. Evelyn stood at the center mat, stretching her arms with mechanical calm. The artificial gravity pressed against her bones, denser than most species could tolerate. For her, it was resistance training. For the others, it was spectacle. Rakor's group fanned out around her. The recording drones floated higher, lenses glowing faint crimson. Their hum joined the tension like a swarm of hungry insects. Rakor twitched his tail. You're Earthborn. They say you adapted to poisonous air, crushing pressure, endless war. Let's see if that's true. Evelyn tilted her head slightly. You'll get bored before I get tired. The remark struck him like a slap. We'll see. He lunged first, 6 limbs moving with reptilian speed, but she slid sideways, letting the momentum pass. Her palm brushed his arm just enough to unbalance him. He stumbled, hissed, recovered. The drones zoomed in. One of his friends, a spined avian named Trisk, called from behind. "Careful, Rakor. It might scratch you. The beast carries toxins." Laughter rippled through the group. Evelyn said nothing. Her silence wasn't weakness. It was gravity pulling the noise toward collapse. Rakor circled. "You think this makes you equal?" "I don't think about you at all," she replied. The words froze him mid-step. His tail flicked once, twice. He wanted her angry. Instead, she was dissecting him, every motion, every breath, measured like data. He lunged again. She sidestepped again. The watching crowd, a dozen other students from the observation deck, began murmuring. The spectacle wasn't going how he planned. Frustration cracked his composure. He struck low, claws grazing her boot. She pivoted, deflecting with her forearm, using his momentum to throw him sideways. He hit the floor hard, claws screeching against alloy. The laughter died. Evelyn stepped back. Enough, but Rakor wasn't listening. He rose, face dark with fury. "You mocked me in front of my peers? You did that yourself." The nearest drone hovered close to her face, recording every blink, every breath. Its lens trembled. Stabilizer malfunction or something more primal, Hakor signaled. 2 of his friends moved in, pretending to assist with training. One flicked a baton. Arcs of blue electricity danced between its tips. Evelyn's expression didn't shift. "Unauthorized weapon use," she said quietly. "I'd reconsider," Trisk smirked. "Who's going to stop us, you?" He jabbed the baton toward her ribs. She caught it mid-swing. The shock discharged against her glove, crackling light, the smell of ozone filling the air. She didn't flinch. She pulled the baton from his grasp with a twist so smooth it looked choreographed. Trisk's crest feathers stiffened. "How?" Evelyn dropped the weapon at his feet. "Return it, before you hurt yourself." Rakor's pupils contracted into slits. The calm voice, the refusal to escalate, it was worse than defiance. It was control. And control, to his kind, was dominance. "Record this," he snarled. He lunged again, faster, harder, all 6 limbs extended. She moved like wind, pivoting, catching his wrist, using his momentum to pull him forward and down. He hit the ground with a sickening crack, his shoulder dislocating under his own force. The dome went silent. Hakor gasped, clutching his arm. The drones adjusted focus. Evelyn stepped back, breathing steady. "You should stop before you break something else." "Monster," he spat through clenched teeth. "You'll pay for this." "Maybe," she said softly. "But not today," he roared, slamming his tail down. The floor trembled. The other students backed away. Trisk activated another drone, zooming in. "Keep recording. We'll show the council how violent she is." "Violent?" Evelyn repeated, her voice almost curious. "You call this violence?" Her eyes caught the light, gray turning silver, irises narrowing like polished steel. The air around her shimmered faintly. Not from heat, but from something subtler, heavier, a shift in pressure, invisible yet tangible. The aliens felt it first, an instinctual alarm deep in the brainstem, the memory of prey sensing a predator. Hearts accelerated, limbs stiffened. Even the drones stuttered mid-air, gyros whining. Rakor tried to stand. His legs wobbled. What is that?" Evelyn took one slow step forward. "You wanted to see a Deathworlder." "You're seeing one." The phrase landed like thunder. The gravity field flickered. The drone's recordings distorted, static crawling across the footage. Some sensors registered a sudden rise in electromagnetic output, though there was no visible source. Evelyn didn't move fast. She didn't need to. Rakor swung again, desperate, clumsy. She caught his wrist, twisted, and his body hit the mat with a single fluid motion. He screamed, not from pain, but from the realization that she hadn't even tried. The others rushed forward. She sidestepped one, disarmed another. Every movement was efficient, clean, surgical. "No wasted energy, no rage. Just precision. Stop!" one shouted. "Security! Call security!" The dome's intercom crackled, but static drowned it. Cameras overloaded, recording fractured images, flashes of motion, brief silhouettes, the glint of her eyes. Rocker's breath came ragged. You think this will save you? The footage will. She leaned closer, voice barely above a whisper. The footage will show exactly what you are. The drones captured the moment her hand brushed his chest, just enough to send him sprawling again, the impact echoing through the dome. And then the screaming started. It wasn't Evelyn's voice. It came from Trisk, from the others, from the sheer panic of bodies reacting to a threat evolution hadn't prepared them for. The pressure built, not sound, not light, something else, a primal fear made physical. The recordings blurred. One frame showed her standing among them, motionless. The next, streaks of movement, walls splattered with something dark. Drones spun uncontrollably, lenses cracking from the sudden surge in kinetic shock. The last clear sound on the footage was her voice, calm and human. Enough. Silence followed. When the backup systems finally rebooted, the dome was empty except for the unconscious forms of Ra-Corps' teams scattered across the floor. The drones drifted aimlessly, recording static and fractured echoes. Security arrived minutes later, weapons drawn, sensors sweeping. They found Evelyn standing near the south gate, hands behind her back, eyes distant. One officer, a hulking insectoid with mirrored armor, hesitated before speaking. "Miss Drake, what happened here?" She looked at him with the same quiet calm she had worn all morning. "An experiment," she said. "It failed." He scanned the unconscious students. I defended myself," she interrupted. "They have the recordings, or parts of them." Her tone made him glance at the drones, still twitching in midair. Most were fried beyond recovery. A few blinked weakly, their last images looping. Evelyn walked past the officer toward the exit. Her boots echoed against the alloy floor, steady, deliberate, human. Behind her, the first medic screamed after viewing a fragment of the recovered footage. The investigation began before dawn. The Academy's main hall, usually filled with chatter and holographic lessons, was sealed under Level 5 quarantine. Security drones patrolled the corridors, their blue lights reflecting off the polished metal. The words, "Training Dome Incident," flashed across every console. Evelyn sat on a cold metal bench outside the disciplinary chamber. Her uniform was spotless, her posture still. To anyone passing by, she looked calm. But her eyes were distant, gray, unreadable. Behind the reinforced glass, Director Halor, a crystalline being with a voice like fractured ice, reviewed the recovered recordings. Every few seconds, his glow dimmed, flickered, brightened again. His aides, four-eyed Virelians, spoke in hushed, agitated tones. "Most of the drones are corrupted," one said. "The footage that survived, it doesn't make sense." "Show me," Halor ordered. The main screen came alive with static. Lines of code scrolled. Then, clarity. The footage began. The camera showed Ra-Corps lunging, Evelyn stepping aside, calm as glass. Her voice, steady, unhurried. "Return it before you hurt yourself." The next frames were chaos. Flashes of motion, screams, drones spinning. Then silence. In the final seconds, Evelyn stood at the center of the dome, surrounded by motionless bodies. The drone's lens trembled, audio distorting under pressure. Her voice came through clearly, almost gentle. "Enough." Then static again. Halor turned off the screen. The room stayed silent for several long moments. "She didn't attack," one aide whispered. "They initiated." "Yet the readings, energy surges, neural shock in multiple species. It's impossible." "Deathworld physiology," Halor murmured. "Or something beyond that." He gestured toward the door. "Bring her in." The chamber was circular, lined with mirrors that doubled as biometric scanners. Evelyn stepped inside, her boots echoing. Halor's crystalline form refracted light into shifting colors. "Cadet Drake," he began, his tone cold but precise. "You stand accused of causing physical harm to 6 students and severe psychological trauma to others. How do you plead?" Evelyn clasped her hands behind her back. "Not guilty." We have recordings. Fragments, she interrupted softly. Enough to show what they planned. Halor's glow dimmed. You admit there was an altercation? I defended myself, she said. The environment was altered, gravity increased, drones unauthorized, weapons deployed. You'll find their signatures in the system logs. He paused, accessing the data. The evidence matched. Every security lock confirmed Ra-Kor's group had overridden safety limits. You could have withdrawn, Halor said. Would you? She asked. If they were filming to prove you were a monster? The question hung in the air. No one answered. Halor's crystalline fingers tapped the desk. Their injuries are extensive. Bone fractures, neural shock, one in coma. I used minimal force, she replied. The rest wasn't me. Then what was it? Evelyn looked up. Fear. Halor's refracted light shifted uneasily. Explain. They provoked what they didn't understand, she said. You call us Deathworlders. You think it means violent. It means adapted. Our bodies evolved to survive places that kill everything else. Sometimes survival looks different, Halor studied her. You're dangerous. I'm disciplined, she corrected. That's the difference. Hours later, the Council of Academic Conduct convened. Representatives from 6 species filled the amphitheater. The tension in the air was almost physical. The surviving aliens sat on the lower benches, pale and trembling. None dared look at Evelyn. The central hollow screen displayed still frames from the footage. Frame 1, Evelyn standing calmly. Frame 2, Ra-Kor mid-attack. Frame 3, static. Frame 4, aftermath. We can't verify what happened in between, the AI recorder stated. Footage corrupted by unknown interference. One delegate, a tall insectoid, spoke sharply. That interference came from her. I say expulsion. Immediate. A second delegate, a methane-breathing scholar, clicked her mandibles. No, watch the bio readings. The first neural shock came from Ra-Kor's baton, not from the human. Arguments broke out across the hall, voices rising in alien tongues. Evelyn remained silent, watching them debate her existence like an equation. Finally, Halor raised his crystalline hand. The chamber fell quiet. We will decide based on evidence, not fear. He turned to Evelyn. Do you wish to speak before the ruling? She rose slowly. The entire hall stilled. When you invited humanity to your academy, she said, you did it to prove we could be civilized. You never considered we already were. You wanted a display of savagery to confirm your fears. You filmed it, waiting for proof. You found something else. Her gaze swept across the crowd. You saw what restraint looks like when cornered. You saw what happens when patience runs out. No one spoke. She took a slow breath. You call us Deathworlders. We call ourselves survivors. The difference is perspective. Then she sat down again, quiet as before. After deliberation, the council reached its conclusion. Evelyn Drake acted in self-defense, Halor announced. No further action will be taken. The incident is closed. A murmur rippled through the hall. The alien students exchanged uneasy glances. One of Ra-Kor's followers stood, voice trembling. She looked at me and I couldn't move. It felt like drowning. Halor turned toward him. Then remember that feeling before you provoke what you don't understand again? Evelyn stood, nodded once to the director, and left. Outside, the corridors were nearly empty. Security drones floated silently overhead, lenses following her. She walked to the viewport overlooking the city below, a glittering landscape of alien towers piercing the fog. Her reflection stared back, pale against the cold glass. Behind her, footsteps approached. Instructor Varlen stopped a few meters away. They're afraid of you now, he said. They always were, she answered. He studied her expression. You didn't use a weapon. What did you do to them? I reminded them what they already knew, she said. Varlen's voice softened. You could have destroyed them. I didn't come here to destroy. She looked out at the stars. But sometimes peace requires a reminder of what violence costs. Varlen nodded slowly. The footage will spread. Even edited, it'll terrify them. Evelyn's lips curved slightly. Good. Maybe next time they'll think before pressing record. Weeks later, the official report circulated through the Galactic Network. It was heavily redacted. Incident concluded. Cadet Evelyn Drake, human, exonerated. Psychological deterrent effect observed. Recommendation: monitor all future Deathworld participants closely. Unofficially, the recording became legend. Students whispered about it in corridors, always in lowered voices. The video resurfaced in underground forums, blurred, distorted, ending in screams and silence. The last frame showed her eyes reflecting the drone's red lights like mirrors. The title given by the network's users was simple: The Recording That Shouldn't Exist. Evelyn spent her final evening at the academy, alone in the training dome. The floor had been scrubbed clean, the walls repaired, the gravity normalized. She stood in the same spot as before, breathing in the sterile air. Her reflection stared back from the polished floor, unchanged, calm. "They filmed the wrong thing," she murmured. "They wanted a monster. They captured a lesson." Above her, the dome lights flickered once, as if the structure itself acknowledged the truth. She turned toward the exit. Outside waited another world, another misunderstanding. But for the first time since arriving, she smiled faintly. "Let them keep the screams," she whispered. "They'll remember what it means to wake a Deathworlder." Then she walked into the corridor, leaving silence behind her. A silence deeper than fear, the kind that only humanity could create.